I'm Péter Kanti, Head of Business Consulting, Blockchain and Digital Assets at Dorsum. And this podcast is a brand new initiative by Dorsum, a Hungarian fintech company with 30 years of experience in digital investment solutions. This Expert Talk is designed to bring together industry leaders, innovators, and forward thinkers to share insights and meaningful conversations. And we are kicking off this series with a timely and important topic. I think it's about how fintech and crypto markets operate in the Czech and the CEE region. And joining me today is Štěpán Kouba, a fintech and crypto expert based in Prague and Czechia. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into our first ever episode. And I think the best if I first introduce ourselves. You, Štěpán, are an expert who helps startups to connect with banks in crypto and fintech topics, as I understand. Yeah. I hope we're going to have a nice conversation. Me, myself, I'm working at the Dorsum, and I'm a management consultant by design. As I can experience myself, I'm doing something like the same as you. So I hope we can create value for our listeners.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. I'm really happy to share my view on crypto and MiCA and what's happening right now in the middle or in the heart of Europe. I'm looking forward to sharing all this expertise. Let me just add a few words about myself. I spent a lot of time in banking industry. Now, in the last two and a half years, I'm working together with crypto startups to help them working as regulated fintech company or financial institution. On the other hand, I'm cooperating with banks to set up crypto strategy, to set up a new way of working in terms of how to use digital assets within their business.
Thank you very much. Sounds really, really interesting what you do.
It is.
It is. And I guess the best way is to kick it off with kind of an estimation about the market. I'm gonna share with the listeners some insights. I think these are really, really interesting data. So the crypto market has just crossed $4 trillion US dollars, and although it's already surpassed silver market cap, gold is still way above us, but seems to be going in that direction. Also, another interesting fact that in 2024 there was about 560 million crypto owners worldwide. And this year, some analysts expect it to be over 700 million, maybe 800 million. We're gonna see that.
Yeah.
Also an interesting data point is, according to Bitwise, in 2024, the stablecoin transaction volume surpassed Visa's. And as I just checked it before this recording, this trend has continued for the Q1 of 2025. So we're gonna keep an eye on the rest of the year as well. Also, I think which is worth to note that last year's BlackRock Bitcoin ETF launch was the most successful launch ever in terms of ETF history, and now more than $80 billion asset under management under that ETF as we speak. So crazy numbers. How do you see
That's
it? Right. What can you feel it in Prague about it?
I just can confirm these numbers in general from the Czech market point of view. I'd like maybe point out one specific situation in November last year. It was for the first time in history when crypto trades on crypto exchanges in Czech Republic were somehow comparable to Prague stock exchange. So somehow
Really?
the capitalization or the amount of transaction was comparable. It was not same. It was like 80% of the crypto made 80% of volume on a Prague stock exchange, but it's growing. It's just confirmation of how important it is and how growing market it is actually.
Do you have any numbers about, I mean, in terms of people holding crypto assets in Czech? We have some numbers in Hungary, but I mean, either in Czech or any other countries in the CE, do you have any numbers or rough estimations?
Yeah, it was, I work with some rough estimations. Let me just for this time focus
obviously
on
estimations. So just estimations.
Yeah.
No problem with that.
So it's estimated that last year there were trading volume of crypto for the whole year 40 to 50 billions of Czech crowns, which is obviously the largest volume ever so far. And particularly November was really the month of the year from this perspective. The situation is growing, or the volume is still growing. The amount of people involved in crypto is growing steadily for each and every year in somehow estimated 15% rate, which is still stable growth for several years, which is really awesome. And I just can confirm that even from some numbers from particular exchanges, we can see, really doubling the amount of users over a year, for example. So really active.
Yeah, interesting. What we see, we also try to cover all this data, especially for the CE, but in general, what we can see for Hungary, it's above 10% or around 10%, and roughly 500,000 people who own crypto roughly in Hungary. So it's still a sizable estimate, but this was an estimate for 2024, and what happened after that in this this kind of year, I think many more now. Yeah.
This is interesting. It's somehow comparable to Czech Republic because we estimated somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000 people are involved in crypto. So similar numbers.
Okay. And what's your understanding of the market? I mean, in part of who are these who own these crypto assets, and who are those who kind of provide services towards these people or towards these institutions? So how does it look like in your country?
Yeah. I think that this is really interesting thing or interesting point, because even though the numbers are growing and are, from my perspective, are really big, we're still, talking about those early adopters who are involved in crypto. I wouldn't say the general market has already adopted crypto or digital assets in general. Still, I can see we are talking about 9 to 12% of Czech population somehow is involved in crypto. So it's really small group of people. So we are really waiting for going behind the borders of this early adopters group.
Okay, I see that. And who are those companies or service providers who provide it? Exchanges, whatever. What's in your...
Still, these are the majority of the companies are startups that were founded 6 to 10 years ago, something like that, and provide simple services, exchange services to these early adopters. Still, I don't see any shift right now to move it to the general market or to traditional finance institutions. So this is something definitely we will be talking about it in the next few minutes, but this is something what we are really waiting for to happen.
Yeah, what I see in the Hungarian market and in broader CE market is that if you consider this, I would make a bucket of the big international players like Binance, Coinbase, and the big exchanges we're talking about, and there are these smaller local players or regional players, local players. I can find it that my understanding, if for those who are not doing self-custody, are using these bigger exchanges because of trust and all these kind of things. Most people heard about the FTX, and they want to have some bigger brands to handle their assets. And there are some local Hungarian entities or local entities over there who do something like what you said, and they are doing good, I guess. And in the middle, there's an interesting topic that there's a neobank like Revolut. So
exactly.
I mean, I guess is that something like, but no traditional banks, here. And as far as I know, nothing is here. I guess it's the same in Czech, right?
Yeah, I have personally created some kind of list or steps how you move from one particular provider to another one. As a newbie, you start with Revolut. So simple. So simple. Then when you are interested to do something more, you shift yourself towards local players, because they provide localization, like Czech language, Czech support. You can integrate it with your banking account quite easily, move their money very quickly. So it's another step. And once you become a professional investor, I would say, you're moving yourself towards Coinbase and those Binance and those international brands. So this is something I have created in my mind, how we move to it. So I know many people start living with Revolut, and they like it a lot because it's quite easy. I know a lot of people who are with great Czech exchanges like Anycoin, for example, love them because it's really suit them pretty well. And I know many people who are professionals, and they use APIs and all these specialties of Coinbase and Binance and Kraken, for example.
Okay, and now here's the big topic of our big question for today and in itself. Why are banks not started to move into this direction, and can MiCA change this trend? What do you think? How do you see?
I know what we
hope. I know what we hope. But what do you think?
No. Let me answer with a question. What do you see in Hungary in this perspective?
I see cautious thinking about the topic. That's what I see. Definitely, it's not about it's not a no-go. So it's not about that anymore. I think that's what I feel, but it's a cautious thinking about it.
Yeah. From my perspective, and talking about Czech market, Slovak market, Austrian market, I see I see really intentions to create strategies for crypto assets within different kind of banks, traditional banks, I would say. But it has just started. It's really new activities, like strategy team creates an idea. Okay, let's put this topic into our strategy 2030 or something like that. So how to move there, how to employ digital assets or blockchains in general to create as many benefits as we can from it. So I see in past 2 years really a huge shift in mindset from this is something we don't want to touch to something we need to think about it. We need to incorporate it into our strategy. But it's still far away, not so far, but still far away from we are working on it. We are implementing it. We still need to bridge this gap or move to this phase of implementation. So we are still not there. But as we can see Revolut growing, this is really a huge thing for banks to adopt crypto assets because they see how successful Revolut in this field, in this area is. And there are many other things like you've mentioned, MiCA, for banks which are regulated institutions. They are strictly limited in what can they do. They on the beginning of this year, they woke up and they realized that thanks to the MiCA regulation, they have a new thing that they can do. New revenue stream they can employ into their business. Maybe, but well, to be honest, it's still great revenue streams for all the startups and all the international players, like we mentioned, Binance or Coinbase. So they understand this, and they are changing their minds. This MiCA regulation, from my point of view, is a very, very important step to move digital assets or crypto assets to general market.
Yeah. And I was always thinking about how can we expect, or what can we expect as a trigger point for this? Because what's your opinion? I think at one part it could be a very successful, competitor like Revolut, or a very successful new entrants like Coinbase, Bitpanda, others who work Bitstamp. I can throw a lot of names who try to work with these, or just it's about the regulation. Now they have regulation, so that can be a problem not to start it. So how do you see? I mean, maybe knowledge as well.
I think there are several triggers, that need to start to fit into each other. Regulation definitely is necessary. What you've mentioned at the beginning is the size of the market. This is something you need to realize it's big enough to step in. And this is something which is currently happening. The ETF was a big important trigger to start thinking about crypto assets. Definitely, this will, trigger the questioning inside banks. Can we step into it? Can we move to it? What do we know about it? And then banks are trying to ask themselves, what we know about this topic? How can we step in? And now the change is happening. Like, many banks are asking, how can we build something on blockchain, or in crypto assets area? So still there are many things that need to fit together so that the traditional finance institution can step into it.
Okay, in that corner, I think, or that crossing, sorry, let's talk a little bit about regulation, market size, and the market players, because I think it's an interesting point that we consider we have a market size of whatever 10%, 15%, which is currently now, but who are reaching these and you mentioned who are these people who are maybe early adopters or maybe the second wave of early adopters, whatever, but definitely not the masses. The masses are clients of the incumbent players, the incumbent banks, and investment firms, right? So if we consider that a new entrant, a startup, a fintech, has maybe a couple thousand or 10,000 of clients, a bank has already millions, right? Even in any country in the CEE, we are talking about roughly that sizes, right? So I mean, if we have a regulation, if we can come into the market, then we can make demand like BlackRock did with the ETFs in a sense, in a sensible way, because they have a reach out. Then we obviously make the market size better. So those who can come in, maybe new entrants as well, not just those kind of the same cake we just grab a slice of the safe 15% cake, right? So I mean, that's also an interesting point here.
Exactly. I think this question or this topic leads me to realizing what's my role in this situation on the market. And I think this is really great spot for startups to stop for a time and think about it and try to think, how can we cooperate with traditional finance institutions? Because they, and you've mentioned it, they don't have a knowledge about crypto assets. Startups, crypto exchanges have. They do understand really well.
Yeah.
How can we create business together so that we make money on this together? And how can we create? How can we help these traditional finance institutions to focus on mass market, and maybe the startups to focus on the pros investors or on different segments? It really depends on their strategy. So how can we cooperate? This is really huge, because once we realize that we can make a business together with traditional finance, it opens a totally different point of view on the business, on the market. And from what we saw, that we are limited in this first or second wave of early adopters, now we can see that as a startup, we can move to a mass market.
Yeah,
quite easily.
And that's the opportunity. That's where the opportunity is, right? Yeah, exactly.
And in this point, the regulation is crucial, because as a regulated traditional institution, as a traditional bank, I need to have partner which is also regulated. I cannot cooperate with some startup, I don't know from whom, from where, but I need a regulated company to make business together. So this is really crucial for the cooperation.
Yeah, and just for the sake of the listeners, we circulated around this topic a while. Can you explain just in a couple of words what's MiCA and why is it important?
Well,
what does it regulate? I mean, just in a couple of sentences, because
Well, so in general, what's MiCA? It's a harmonization of rules with regard to crypto asset, with regard to companies, providers of services of crypto assets, and also a harmonization of rules with regard to stable coins. Let's keep it simple.
Let's keep it simple. Yeah.
So in general, every company providing crypto asset services in European Union needs to fulfill the same obligations, needs to fulfill the same rules, no matter where in which country of European Union I'm located. Why is good? I think what was created, I think from the regulation perspective, one of the big reasons was consumer protection. And it's visible within the legislation and the regulation itself that it really focuses on how to protect investors from losing their money. which is quite obvious once you create so huge market like you mentioned already crypto assets are. It's really important to somehow protect consumers. But on the other hand, it's also, I would say, limiting this kind of, I call it Wild West within
Yeah.
within crypto assets companies, where there were many companies that were crazy. So it's somehow setting up the environment for companies how to work, how to cooperate. So to sum it up, harmonization, companies that provide services for crypto assets, stable coins, what I as an investor into stablecoin need to know, how the provider of stablecoin needs to issue new stablecoins. So this is it. It's in great detail, or in a general speaking, I would say companies providing services for crypto assets are becoming something like small banks, something like credit unions, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. I think that was a perfect summary. That's my understanding as well. So it's good. At least we are on the same page.
Yeah.
And speaking about MiCA, I think according to my last, I just checked the numbers. There were around 39 companies who got licensed in Europe, all over Europe, and 14 or 15 roughly who were kind of stablecoin providers, e-money license, as far as I know. And one was that maybe a Czech company with the Czech Koruna-backed stablecoin. Is that my understanding right?
One Czech stablecoin should be there, but let me just give you an interesting number, because based on the legislation we have here in Czech Republic, 31st of July was the deadline for all companies who were asking for a license to
for
send
us, it was the July the 1st. For Hungary, it was July the 1st. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So
but
we had
almost the same. Yeah.
Well, 30 days more here, and according to the sources on the market, it seems that in the Czech market, within Czech National Bank, who's the regulator here, there are something like 300 of applications.
300 applications
for CASP license, crypto asset service provider. So it's far more than those almost 50 licenses approved within the European Union. So it will be a really interesting situation here in Czech Republic, because there is unexpected number of applications.
But I think there's something like that in whole Europe, right? They get roughly 40 licenses, and they may have more than 1,000 applicants, right? I mean, overall in Europe, we might talk about it. It's just my estimation based on that. I haven't checked it. Maybe it's not even close. I don't know. Sounds interesting. Yeah.
So we will see. So we'll see what will happen, and everyone involved in MiCA regulation and implementing MiCA for different startups is now looking forward to finding out what's going to happen. So
okay, all right. Just one question. I mean, we talked about stable coins, and not long ago, the US has also accepted their stablecoin regulation, so-called Genius Act. And their kind of market regulation is also coming. We don't know when, but they expect it anytime, basically. So what similarities can you see in these kind of regulations, and what can be the effect of the Genius Act to Europe? What do you expect?
Well, when looking into Genius Act, into the details, I find it really, really similar to what MiCA is saying about, so I don't think these regulations are far away. They are really close. There are details where they differ, but I would say they're really close. So from my perspective, what does it mean? It means that stablecoins are going to be with us here for a long time, because once they're regulated, they will be quite easily used, and general in terms of B2B market, this is really huge, because moving money all around the world within seconds, within a fraction of costs, this is really important.
Yeah, and I've seen maybe it was a couple of months ago. I read about how big are these market, and I found out that maybe in the top 10 of the U.S. Treasury bill market is one buyer is stablecoin companies. So that's also a very, very interesting fact. Besides the transactions and besides the kind of the payment use case of stablecoins, right?
Yeah. You're right, and it's another side of the coin, is what influence it will have on debt distribution in terms of country debt distribution.
Exactly.
And since I'm not economist, so I'm not really trying to go in deep into this topic, but it's really interesting, and everyone should be thinking about this in terms of politicians. So if we in Europe, if we forget to go into the stable coins, if we just stick with the USDC, USDT, it will move our wealth towards United States debt. So
yeah, it is. It's an interesting problem. Yeah. Okay, so we're soon. I don't have much time left, so I'm going to check my notes. But I think that would be an interesting to talk about how do you see the Czech startups and the Czech fintech market? How prepared are them to work with MiCA, or MiCA, and with traditional finance? So, because I think that's also an interesting thing, that if traditional finance, it's a much higher level in terms of structure, in terms of regulations, in terms of general compliance, and usually fintechs and startups are not about these traits. Let's say.
Yeah. I think, from my perspective, that more or less both sides are in the same situation. Banks do not know, bankers do not know anything about crypto. On the other hand, crypto companies really struggle to fit into this regulation, rules and processes and so on, because they were not used to it so far. So it's really tough for them to understand, to know how this compliance thing should work. So this is something there from this different perspectives, they are more or less in the same position right now. So the startups trying to hire people from banking to have risk managers with experience, compliance managers with experience from banking industry. On the other hand, traditional companies are doing the vice versa for crypto assets. So it's tough. It's tough for both sides.
Yeah, that's how I see it as well. I mean, we try to position ourselves as one part of knowing banks, because we worked with banks years ago, or many years from now, and also we know the kind of how crypto works and how the crypto business works. We watch it, we understand it, we work with it all day, and we also act as a software vendor in many investment banks. So I think that's what we also want to achieve, to try to help our customers and clients into this direction, and I hope we can.
I think there's plenty room for advisors or for someone who can help banks to understand crypto and startups to understand the banks. Definitely.
Okay, and now just to wrap it up, I would like to talk a little bit about the future. How can we see the future? How can you see Prague's fintech future in this crypto MiCA TradFi connection or regard? And what do you see for Central and Eastern Europe in the mid and long term in terms of crypto?
To be honest, I'm not Oracle.
I know.
I can't predict future, but I think from the moves, from what's happening right now, I see that it will this change, this new thing in regulated financial business will have much bigger impact than, for example, open banking. For last few years, I can see many people involved in the business. I see many startups, moving themselves or changing themselves to really professional teams, which is great, because I think we really need professional teams with processes, but also with the ideas from crypto world, where you can really move things much faster than in the traditional finances.
Yeah.
So I think this is something happening and will happen in the future. And I believe the wiser banks will adopt this approach, will start to cooperate. Maybe there will be some mergers. I can imagine this. But I believe that those banks which will say, sorry, we don't want to do this, which is legitimate. Okay, it's your strategy. I think they will see outflow of customers to new banks. I don't want to call it neobanks, but to different banks, let's say it.
Yeah.
So this will definitely happen. And I think as this topic will grow, startups will grow, crypto startups will grow. And the topic of self-custody definitely will go. Here in Czech Republic, we have a really well-known company called Trezor, which provides self-custody solution for retail. It will grow. DeFi will grow slowly. It's a huge topic. I think we don't have much time to open this area, but it will definitely change the way we think about moving assets all over the world, and how the retail is involved in financial operations that are currently focused on big institutions only. So DeFi is really a huge thing to think about, and so on. So we could spend a lot of time here on this future prediction, but let's say moving slowly towards adopting crypto in mass market is definitely what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think what I mentioned before, for me, it's really interesting that what are the trigger points that really making these changes happen. That's somehow things that I also see, and I hope to see happening, especially with DeFi. I think DeFi is a really interesting point, and really TradFi didn't even tapped into it. And it's a really complex topic. It's a really complex topic, even not just in technological ways, but even in mathematical ways, in somehow, and portfolio management way in somehow. It could be really complex if you consider the high end of it. Obviously, there are certain easier, smaller use cases here, but DeFi for me, it's the big question is the KYC and the compliance of DeFi, which we can see some technological advances that with those it could be done. We're gonna see how it works out.
Yeah.
But before I wrap up, just one question. I heard some new initiatives in some ways a couple of months ago that many banks, I mean not just in the CEE, not talking about the CEE, but globally, started their own stablecoin initiative, which I think is very interesting because it's usually we talk about this kind of provide a custody, provide some trading or exchange services, whatever. But having your own stable coin and using it for settlements, we can see some things happening, but more and more entrants are coming. I think there is something here. Have you heard about it? And what's your opinion?
Sure. It's a great topic. I maybe would use a bit of general approach. I would say tokenization of assets, because this might be something a bit broader.
Exactly.
And I think it's something more suitable to banks, not just issuing new stablecoin, which is the bank stablecoin, and trading it and using it. I don't think we have plenty of room for many stablecoins. I think it will focus on several of them. This game. But tokenization of deposits is something which banks should consider in their strategies. Not now, but let's think about it for several years.
Long term.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And think about this. This is a total new way of employing assets that are exactly sitting in the bank, doing almost nothing, just bringing you some interest maybe. But once you tokenize it, you can move it around the world, try to use it for settlement and so on and so on. And this total new story that was not heard before.
Exactly.
So this is something which is worth discussing in much greater detail, how it might work and what are the benefits. But when discussing crypto strategy, I'm really happy when we can open this topic and think about it in the long term, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. So many topics around this industry that we should have another talk, right? Yeah. Exactly. So thank you very much. I mean, it was a very good talk. It was very nice to talk to you, and I hope that everybody finds this conversation insightful and gains some clearer, better understanding maybe of how MiCA is reshaping this crypto industry in the CEE, or in general, how does it look like? So if you're curious about how MiCA could open new doors or business and want to explore new solutions, just we have to reach out. And thanks again for watching. And stay tuned for more episodes of Dorsum Expert Talk. Thank you very much, Stefan.
Thank you very much as well, Peter. It was a pleasure. Really happy for having me here. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.